I will preface this with a lot of this may be spurious and a little bit wrong, but probably not. Hopefully not. Um, a lot of this is based on stuff I did a while ago. So yeah,
Oh, can we
we
all just
gotta.
take a second to appreciate Max's superior microphone quality?
I did. It
Thank
was
you,
me
thank you.
all along. Uh, wait, what did- just need to make sure.
Totally not
So,
God. You've been here this entire time. Just shout out.
Yeah, thank you all for who all's been listening since the beginning, or if anybody tuned in the middle. I think you guys are great.
We've got some.
And
We got almost 600 views on just a random Sunday live stream. This
yeah.
is noon on a Sunday. Some of y'all skipped church for this, and I just want to appreciate that.
Wait, what?
Gotta say, aren't
Or
most
listen
Americans to
afterwards.
church? I also want to thank everybody for listening to that. That was much appreciated. And also, if you want to like get a better in-depth like understanding of this, I highly recommend the movie The Last Emperor. I think it's on Netflix. It's a very good movie, and it kind of just goes into the in-depths of his emotional state during these times. So, if you just want more information on that, definitely recommend that. But thank you everybody for watching that last story.
The high ground. There will be one more presentation, and then we are done. These are supposed to be half-hour segments, but somehow, despite only having two presenters, we've gone over 2 hours. So,
Yep. Long ass story.
All right.
just how this fucking goes.
all right, guys. Okay,
Oh my
we're gonna do some stuff about Nietzsche
We're
and
going
nihilism.
beyond good and evil to. Oh, you even have it written in your.
Yeah,
in your...
yeah. I know. I know. You're predictable. Even further beyond good and evil. There is. Do make sure to take a look at this. The final little gray thing, because yeah, this might get a bit rusty, but yeah, Nietzsche. Um, I see people talk about them a lot online, and it gets to like a point usually in the discussion, and then kind of peters off. So I always wanted to just kind of talk about Nietzsche because it seems a lot of the time like people don't really know what Nietzsche's deal is, or think they do, and miss a lot of kind of choice bits out. So yeah, before we get into it though, because a lot of this is going to be quite dense with information, I thought I'd break it up with some nice little, things to keep you all engaged. So, we're gonna play a game every now and again called Nietzsche or Not, and basically, it's gonna be something Nietzsche said, or it's gonna be something a random anime villain or protagonist has said, and you gotta figure out which one it is. The chat could, I guess, can also engage. It's quite fun that they're here too now. But yeah, then we got quote number one. There's no purpose in life, but if you linger a while longer in this world, you might discover something of value in it. And the snake which cannot cast its skin has to die, as well the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions. Now,
The first one's an anime villain, 100%.
I actually disagree. I think the snake quote is actually the Naruto character. Also, I think it's really ironic that out of 3 presentations, Naruto has made an appearance in 2 of them.
I'm really happy about
yeah,
that.
if you know,
Wild.
the first character is called Orochimaru, which may give this away for some of you, or may not, who knows? And the second image, of course, is a wonderful mustached man, Nietzsche, in the flesh. Oh,
I
drawing,
think
guess.
the second quote is from the. I've never seen Naruto
Neither have I.
in
Yeah.
my life, but I'm
Orochimaru
guessing.
is a snake man, I will just say.
Yeah,
I
that's what I was thinking.
I haven't watched Naruto in a very long time, but I just have a feeling 100% number one is the anime quote.
I can't
I'm
see the
thinking
chat,
number 2.
but you can tell me if
The chat is the chat. There's only 2 people in the chat playing right now, but they're
Nice.
split.
I'm sure
exactly
there's plenty
down
of
the
others thinking about it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just-
that aren't chatting it.
They're right down the middle right now.
I see. So you'll be happy or surprised, I guess, to find the answer is the opposite. I tricked you. Nietzsche's the fucking meme half the time, but we'll get into it.
Two
as we
more
go further.
votes came in, still right down the middle, but half of them were wrong.
Hey, what did I tell you? What did I say, huh?
Yeah,
What that tongue do?
Trusty's got it.
You
Never
see,
trust
because my persona is an anime villain.
Yes, yeah. So we're gonna run through a few things before we get into like deep Nietzsche stuff. But of course, how you pronounce his name is Nietzsche, not any of these other. I've had a lot, you know,
Nietzsche?
Nietzsche.
Nietzsche?
Nietzsche.
No. All right.
See?
Can
And
you please
also-
refer to him as Nietzsche the entire time?
I'm not. I need to make. I wanted to, but I was like, I have to make a point because everybody sees his name and they get scared because he stole all the consonants. But his name is Nietzsche. So yeah, and also this isn't like a fanboy presentation. He had some ideas, and kind of went insane in his 40s. A little bit wasn't great for him. Well, maybe in most of his life. We'll get into it. There are a few things we're gonna cover, so you get a great context of his life.
There was a
All right.
description of J.C. Denton from the first Deus Ex game that I think really applies to Nietzsche as well. He is a man with opinions.
Yeah, yeah.
I really thought for a second you were gonna go. He was a man, and then
He
just
was a man.
Yeah.
And then just play the Vine boom sound.
Oh, dude.
But yeah, so that's firstly Nietzsche. All right. Secondly, Nazi stuff. All right.
What?
So,
Oh yeah, you did.
I don't know this, man.
German
Yeah, same.
psychologist from the 1940s. Yeah.
he actually wasn't a Nazi or didn't believe in Nazi ideology, which a lot of people don't think he did because a lot of his ideas did get used by the Nazi party, like especially some like you may have heard Übermensch was originally a thing Nietzsche made up. He was all about that, but it kind of gets taken a little bit out of context. He really wasn't. He was very much not into tyranny and fascism, which also seems kind of wild considering how a lot of his stuff gets talked about. But yeah, the reason his stuff is very Nazi oriented, which is kind of a little dark, but when in his 40s, when he kind of went mad, lost his mind, got put in an asylum, kind of during the late years of his life and then after his death, his sister kind of took all his work, showed it to the Nazi party and was like, hey, look, we can be like, eugenics is great. Huh?
Yeah.
And then they were like, all right, yeah.
Eugenics.
Eugenics? Yeah.
Much
You know.
like I want to point out, much like Naruto, Nazis have appeared in 2 out of 3 of these presentations.
Yeah, as well.
Who would have thought? The Nazis had something to do with like the 20th century in history.
We're in World
Well
War
done.
II. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Nazi stuff. We're going over that. He wasn't a Nazi. A lot of his work did get used by the Nazis. So just so you know, he wasn't into it. Thirdly, he was kind of a simp. He was kind of. I can't remember specifically the guy, but he was super great friends with this musician and writer of the time. And then he fell out of love with him, and then he basically went off, became a hermit for ages, and then had panic attack in his 40s. Yeah, I didn't have a great time. And then at the same time as that, or just after it, he wrote a book called Thus Spoke Zarathustra, about a guy who was super rad and cool and smart, who left society after losing all his friends to become a hermit and figure out his own life and contemplate the truths of the universe. He made a self-insert character, basically, to write about in his later years. He was kind of cringe, but, you know, sometimes it's important you don't, fear the part of you that is cringe, but fear the part of you that cringes.
Is that a
Some might
Nietzsche,
say.
Nietzsche quote?
Who knows?
The cringe general.
I like how somebody in the chat named the High Ground just said, "My God, the Japanese love him."
Yeah. Yeah, his work gets kind of robbed a lot for that stuff. Like he did do some writing on it, and he was like, being strong would be a lot easier if we didn't like have sex with these people who were like weak and stuff, and that wasn't great. But it did get in a very slight defense of his work. It did get drawn a tiny bit out of proportion.
A tiny bit.
A tiny bit.
Eugenics?
Eugenics? Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's the main stuff. Now, Nietzsche or not, you've sat through some stuff. Now you gotta do some more Nietzsche or not. Who said what? What is evil? Whatever springs from weakness, or those who stand at the top determine what's wrong and what's right.
Oh my
Who
god.
support? Was it Doflamingo from the anime and manga One Piece, or was it Nietzsche?
Holy shit. That's actually tough.
I
I,
think
I feel like the second one is the One Piece one because I feel like every anime has that fucking villain who goes like, "Only the strong will survive."
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
I agree. I agree. Number two. I
But
think
where
is
did the anime villains learn their philosophy from?
I might
That's
be
the
owned too.
Every other one.
I mean, they're
But,
both very. I'm pretty sure both are anime villains at this point.
One of the points I will make is that Nietzsche basically invented the anime villain, but it's yeah, we'll
Okay,
get there.
the chat seems to be saying that it's the top quote is from Nietzsche.
I agree with that.
I
Honestly,
agree.
that's my
Alright.
sentiment too.
Yeah.
Now, I did write this in a kind of like a fugue state in the late hours of the night a couple of days ago, so I don't really remember this one. So, top one was,
Wow!
was it
Yeah.
Nietzsche? The top one was Doflamingo.
2 out of
Yeah.
2, baby.
Yeah,
Going
Krusty's
in
got
writing
it.
tropes.
Yeah.
Saved the day there.
I'm currently winning this game. I'm
Oh, yeah.
happy.
It's Krusty's great at this.
Yeah.
He knows what's Nietzsche or not.
I think
Man,
he
I
just
watch
knows
too
what's
much anime.
what's anime or not. I think he's playing the opposite game.
So now you're ready to learn about Nietzsche. We're gonna before we get to like abysses and killing God, all that stuff. Right here. He basically invented the anime antagonist and Saturday morning cartoon villain logic and default personality. And what a lot of people will call the master and slave morality concepts. Does anyone know about the master and slave morality? Anyone?
Not much
No.
actually. So I'm gonna learn something new today.
Yeah, we gonna learn today.
Hell yeah. We don't call it the swag book club where everyone knows what we're talking about. It's
Yeah.
the swag academy, baby.
Yeah.
We've already read it.
It's Swag Academy. So, the master and slave morality, they were kind of two separate ideas of philosophies that were in society that kind of manifested themselves, you believe, or well, kind of were important. The master was about individuality, was about power. We'll come back to that. Here we go. I made a note. Kind of manifesting your destiny, and being above or beyond regular scopes of people or the regular person. Now, the slave in this analogy of these two separate moralities is the more communal form of moralities and philosophies, which sounds like the good one, but he frames it in this way where it's about herd instincts, fighting for each other, but also there's a judgment for people who are different and judging others who are outside of this pre-established framework. It's kind of like he thinks of it as a very limiting form of morality.
They're the
It ca-
sheeple.
Exactly. This is wake up sheeple.
Is this a similar thing of like how like the Nazi Germany like did a propaganda campaign on like you want to be the Hulk, not the rabbit, or like you want to be the fox and not the rabbit.
Yeah. Kind of like that. But weirdly, Nazi Germany is very much, especially the more tyrannical and kind of fascist it got, it was much more emblematic of the slave part of the morality with a lot of herd instinct and like selling out anybody who's different, any Jews or disabled people or black people.
Not that
or
they would ever
women who
admit
are-
that.
no. Yeah, but it was they framed themselves as like being everyone's got to be a must and everyone who's German is like cool and the best. But it was the idea of it is that it's very individual. Being a master isn't just about like manifesting your own will and power and beliefs, but also about like be doing it for yourself and not like and going kind of beyond the limiting ideas that other people have for you and finding your own shit, right? Sometimes it can get boiled down to like a lot of terrible atrocities, especially with the links to Nazism. But in the base, it's just like philosophy, but kinky a little bit.
Someone in the chat literally said kinky eugenics.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
think so. Never Nietzsche or not.
Hey,
All right, well, I've seen this.
Lelouch.
I already know this one. I've seen the anime, so I'm not gonna spoil it.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. that was
All
by
right.
heart.
For those who haven't seen that, who are they gonna guess? What are you gonna guess?
Oh yeah, so anyone just tuning in, we're talking about Friedrich Nietzsche And
Yeah.
this is Nietzsche or not. Which of these quotes is a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, and which one is a quote from some random anime villain? I'm not sure who this one is.
Technically, Lucius of antagonist slash protagonist.
Technically he's an anti-hero, but don't get me started on that.
That's a vague
Spoilers
storytelling
for
narrative. Yeah.
people.
Save it
I
for
just-
next Academy video, Colin.
Side tangent, but who here has seen Code Meant, the abridged series? Because I just can't get that out of my head after seeing an image of Lelouch holding a gun.
I am
That,
not.
is that the European one, right? Where it's like based
No.
on like the
It's
Okay.
like the Dragon Ball Z abridged of.
no,
I guess
yeah,
it's
an abridged series of Code Geass. If anybody's ever seen like the Twitter video of like why are you buying soup at the soup store, it's from the abridged series of Code Geass.
Oh my god, that's what that's from.
Tyler's
Yes,
shown me
that's-
that.
Yeah, that's literally what that's from. So watch Code Mint, because I just can't. I'm imagining the line from the abridged series for this scene, but and it's fucking stupid. It's literally like, who's
Yeah.
dumber? You trying to shoot me, trying to shoot myself, or me trying to shoot myself? Or that's not the exact quote, but
The chat has voted. They think number 2 is Nietzsche. They think the
What about
bottom
you,
one.
Skip? To?
Oh, I think. Oh God. I'm gonna say the bottom one also. It feels the least dumb of these two quotes.
You're learning.
Nah.
He's beginning to believe. All right. So, master and slave morality. What's this got to do with nihilism? Because a lot of people talk about Nietzsche and nihilism all the time, or even they say a lot of Nietzsche quotes without even attributing it to Nietzsche while discussing nihilism. But like the things like master and slave, and especially themes of power, will kind of become this base layer foundation for the beginning and birthplace of nihilism and the main kind of ideas. The slave is really good to discuss because it's analogous of like an idea that he frames not because it's just like what the end all of what a person is, but it's something that that everybody has that's aspired to be broken. I can't remember what book it is. It might be Ecce Homo or maybe Beyond Good and Evil. I forget. But he says, where I found the living, there I found the will to power. And even in the will of servants, I found the will to be a master. So he's not saying that if you're a fucking beta boy, bitch, if you're a soy boy, you can't be a master. He's saying that to break through being a soy boy and become a master is possible for everyone. You know? Or even maybe the greatest of soy boys are true masters in themselves. Who knows?
This is starting to sound somewhat similar to like an 1800s Andrew Tate.
You would think. But
history repeats.
There's a lot of
But no-
similarities.
but no.
I mean, he may be in a loony bin, but I mean, Andrew Tate's in prison.
But yeah. The main thing about the master is having like a will and power concept. And this power isn't about just like beating the shit out of people. It's about the will to be yourself and what we call the will to power. So, booey. Cutting a few corners to summarize nihilism, it's the understanding or acceptance of the fundamental difficulty of proving anything is real or holds meaning, and as such makes life itself meaningless, right? Not to depress anybody in this, but that's like the basic core of nihilism. You know, you can't prove it all. At the core of existence, there may be no meaning, etc., etc. But Nietzsche actually, especially, and this is the thing that kind of throws a lot of people. The first time they experienced it, wasn't really intrigued or found this to be like depressing innately as a concept, because he thought that chasing truth like this was dumb. And he even referred to people who did that, or philosophers, especially of the past, like Aristotle or Plato, or all the ancients and oldies, as being like horny people who were trying to court a lady who would inevitably escape their understanding. Like all women. He did kind of hate women. That's one of the main things. One of them, no, not one of the best things that Nietzsche did. Was not good. Was not.
Wait. Nietzsche hated women?
Oh, a little bit. He
Shit,
never
this
got.
guy's-
He never got
shit.
married. He was kind
So-
of a neck bitch. I
Shit,
did
this
cover
guy's-
it.
this guy's
He
pretty
is
cool.
A dramatic simp.
This
Nietzsche
is
is
starting
a
to,
dramatic simp.
man. my Andrew Tate comment is starting to like ferment
yeah,
and
no,
grow.
yeah. He was kind of a sad dramatic simp. He was a
The
neckbeard a little bit.
the Matrix
Yeah.
is broken, guys.
Yeah. You gotta understand. You gotta know. I wanted to get out of the way so that you could be on the level. He was simp, was neckbeard, was a little eugenics question mark.
Eugenics question.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But you don't need to find meaning in a meaningless world. It's the main point. What you have to do is make what you think is meaningful matter. And what you need to do that is to have the power to do that. And some might say the will. The will is a power. Huh?
I think that's a beautiful way to look at things. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is just kind of the beginning. It ends here for a lot of people on their discourse about Nietzsche in the kind of main sphere of culture, the grand semiotic field of battle that thoughts and random nonsense go into, etc., etc. People usually end here thinking about Nietzsche. They're like, hey, he's nihilistic, killed God, he looked in a hole for a bit, and it looked back at him.
the whole
What a
look
time.
back at him.
Yeah, what a time in real life. Especially because, like, in a lot of the thesis statements or a lot of his quotes, it's like, hey, it's literally the end of meaning. So how can you find anything meaningful in that? And that's why he's credited for killing philosophy. And it's also spawned a lot of people. And this is also one of the reasons I wanted to make this presentation, who annoy me when they talk about things and debate, like, stuff that's deep or philosophical, because they'll be like, oh, you can't prove that. Or how do you prove that? Or they'll be like, why though? Etc., etc. When boiling it down and deconstructing it to that level, it's kind of pointless because something is happening and it's there. So fuck those people in particular. I see you.
I see you.
I see you. So that's also one of the main things he covers too, because the way forward is true critical thinking, and making meaning for yourself. But how do we do that? And how do we avoid the pitfalls that come from accepting universal meaningless? And he gave us a full breakdown that nobody fucking talks about. But now we're here to the Nietzsche or not. So,
Yeah.
this is Guts from Berserk. Some of you may know. Some of you may have heard. And this is also Friedrich Nietzsche. Some of you may have maybe heard of him today. Don't know. He's just a little guy. And our main two quotes are, when you look into an abyss, the abyss looks into you. And when you gaze into the darkness gazes back into you.
Yeah,
he
I'm
said what?
literally a huge Berserk fan. I actually don't know which one's which.
Yeah,
I
was
have
gonna
an
say,
inclination.
Tyler,
Don't-
you're my lifeline here.
I don't think that the concept of like, or even the word of an abyss would be something that was like said by Nietzsche.
I'm thinking the same thing because I don't actually remember which one is the Guts quote.
Are you crusty? What the?
God damn it! Why are you playing Guts?
Guts theme.
Guts
Man.
theme over
Just because-
microphone?
just someone playing my brother strongly in the background for all of us.
I'm gonna guess Abyss is Guts.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Let's look at the
Cra-
chat. Let's look at the chat quick. They're saying
Abyss
two.
seems too far. For
Abyss
anime.
seems far for
You have
anime?
you
No.
have not read Berserk, dude. You need to go read Berserk.
Quick side tangent. I've been actually reading through Berserk. Like, I've gone into it completely blind. I'm not even sure what happens after. I've been buying the big black books, okay? So I've been very convinced about, like, okay, I'm gonna buy this by just like going to the store and picking it up. I'm not ordering it online or anything. I have stopped at 7 and have not read the 8th volume for 6 months. I have like the
a
rest of the
minute.
volumes all the way up to volume 13.
What's the last
And
thing that happened in the story for you? 'Cause I'm all caught up right now. Like I'm literally watching it, or I'm reading it as it like new chapters released from the team.
Funny faced priest man got Casca.
Okay, gotcha. I
Mm.
was gonna say like you haven't gotten to the part yet.
You haven't got to the bit.
All right.
But yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Keep
Krusty,
reading.
what do you think, by the way?
Huh?
What
Oh,
do you
me?
think, Krusty?
Which
Yeah.
quote?
I believe the top one is Guts.
I think the top one is Nietzsche. The chat thinks the bottom one is Nietzsche. They think the bottom one is real.
Are you ready for the reveal?
Yeah. Bottom one's real.
Ah,
Yes.
I don't even remember when the quote's from.
Nietzsche,
were
you
looking-
goddamn poet.
You were looking at the wrong word. Abyss is totally fine. Gaze? He would never have said gaze.
Damn it.
Yeah. Look at you. He's got it.
I got
He's
it.
learning.
I am.
So you want a will to power?
So you want to will to power.
Oh,
Like Captain
tiny
America
ad.
sits down in front of you.
A copper pot is how you will to power.
How does will to power? Question mark. So basically, we have a few ways to do that, and here's how to not be a dweeb, according to a weird neckbeard simp who had a mental breakdown in his 40s. We have a few different concepts he uses as analytical devices to express how one critically analyzes things, uses their will to assert their opinions on the world around them, and how to do that in varying layers of goodness. It's from the first one we'll cover will be like the lowest form of this, and then we will get progressively more rad, dope, and 420 about it as we go.
How many substances will I have had to consume by the end of this?
Only your raw mind, my dude.
Got it.
We're gonna get deep, but we're also gonna be not cringe. Based,
That's
as the
how
kids
that's
say.
how any study of Nietzsche has to begin.
Awesome.
We're gonna get
Yeah.
deep, but not cringe.
Not cringe. Yeah. All right. So, first off, we got the skeptic. All right, lowest tier, basic L ratio, etc. Basically, this is one of the people that when I was previously talking, I'm annoyed by. They're one of those guys who just question things. They're only a certain opinion. They just kind of judge other people, and they say, "But how can you do that? Why do you do that?" Blah 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 blah. Don't be a skeptic, is what Nietzsche says. Which is wild because nihilism basically usually begins with being skeptical about the world around you. But
Well,
getting there.
there was a Penn and Teller bit about like I think it was 9/11 truthers or something, where they played someone like a quote from someone who said, "Nobody can convince me that it wasn't an inside job," and they were basically saying that's not skepticism. You're saying you're not open to a conversation at all about this. Like there's absolutely no possible like engagement that you can have with answers to what you're questioning. So it's that kind of skepticism, I'm
Which
not
is-
open to any external input at all.
Exactly.
I have my opinion. I'm stuck in my heels.
Flat earthers, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
There's a
It's-
genre of YouTubers that existed for a bit that called themselves the Skeptics. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
skeptics more like septic because they
Ah.
spiral.
Heyo.
Next group, the critic. It's kind of like what you were talking about, actually. Beginning of the cool guy, basically. Like the skeptic would question things, but the aim is to answer questions that form a practical point and like expand a conversation. It's about like, it's kind of like being the cool stoner kids that you'd meet if you ever went to university or stuff like that, who'd ask a question and you'd be like, "Whoa, man, I'm so high."
You know what?
But yeah.
The funniest thing about this slide is, so all your slides are text, which is fine. I don't want you to change anything about yourself. I just know that
Mm-hmm.
in the edit it's gonna get changed, and it's definitely gonna be a picture of the nostalgia critic. I'm just telling you that right now.
I have pictures. Reddit card. Did you not see Nietzsche or not?
I saw Nietzsche or not.
Yeah. Critics are alright. He was like, "Hey, critics are okay. We can be better, but critics are fine. Most people, most philosophers, critical. Most of the good ones, anyway. But still, we have places to go from here." Not before we do another Nietzsche or not.
That's a show.
Made in the Abyss, huh? See that?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I think I just heard Tyler's heart start beating faster.
I'm gonna step out of the room.
So who said which? I'll do a little dramatic reading. Do you have a conception of God? The people around here you see, don't believe in God. Do you know what it is they believe in? The abyss itself. Or God remains dead, and we have killed him. Yet his shadow still looms. How shall we comfort ourselves, the murderers of all murderers? Yeah, which one?
I'm gonna say top one's anime.
I don't know about that. I feel like I'm trying to get in the headspace here. I think Max would have seen that quote, seen that the word abyss was in it, and we just established that Nietzsche said
Nah.
abyss 2 slides ago. And then pulled a character from Made in Abyss to try and like offset it.
I have not watched Made in Abyss since like 2017, 2018, but like that quote seems like it was said by that character. But then again, I don't know. It's tough because I haven't seen it in a hot minute.
I could be Trixie. I could not be.
I
Who
think number one is anime.
Yo, Jake's in the chat.
knows? Hey, Jake, you want to play Nietzsche or not?
Yeah, Jake, you want to jump in here and play Nietzsche or not? We still need to give the chat a couple more seconds.
Yeah. Which one's the anime quote? The top one or the bottom one?
Yeah.
I don't think Jake's watched anime.
Jake's he's well read. He's learned.
Jake, you missed the Code Geass quote game one. I know he's seen that anime.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, he does. He has watched that.
Let's do their. All right, let's tally it up. 1, 2, 2, 2. They think it's 2. Yeah, the chat says that it's number 2. So
What,
the
that
bottom one.
Anime is 2.
That Nietzsche is 2.
Yeah, I'm the same.
All right.
Yeah, agreed.
So, and Skip T, when was your one?
Oh, I think that the top one is Nietzsche. I think that you threw in the character from the anime to throw us off.
No, I don't think so.
Well, look, Skip T's onto something because he's wrong.
Oh God!
Hey, all right.
Yes, boys.
They believe in the giant
Second
fucking
guess
hole in
yourself.
the ground.
Look into my eyes, Skip T. Look at me. Don't second guess yourself. Will to power.
This one was really easy if you've ever seen the anime, because the anime is about a literal giant hole in the ground called
It's called the Abyss. It's called Made in the Abyss.
So, yeah.
Skip T, think about it for a second.
I thought about it. I overthought it. I am
Believe in yourself.
I'm the sub soy boy that Nietzsche warned us about.
He was playing 60 chess.
Yeah.
But just didn't win.
Nietzsche was waiting for this moment in particular just to dunk on you.
From his fucking grave.
Yeah. You'd say he's rolling over in his grave, but that's only so he could be directly pointed in your direction wherever he was in the air, so that he could throw a basketball and get 3 points in you. And talking about free, we got the free spirit. And now we're beginning to get somewhere with Nietzsche's ideals of being like will to power, critical thinking, analysis, going beyond meaning, etc. Like previous ways of thinking, there's substantial value within the context of nihilism. But because a lot of these, I guess, he talks about the pre-moral and moral values. Moral values are a lot of what you probably associate with lots of philosophies or systems and cultures, the way people see the world. A lot of these, he kind of talks about the way people view power, and the people who win basically are the ones who decide the moral, etc., and then dictate that to other people. And in pre-morality, it's kind of like before there are these large groups that establish these kind of codes of language and ethics, and it's all about kind of the consequence of actions and things like that. It's like low-key Machiavelli stuff if they were a caveman, with less about being just the worst person. And yeah, morality, especially if it's like Kant or Aristotle, especially Kantian stuff, because especially at the time that was like the big German philosopher, or I should say Immanuel Kant, which is how people pronounce his name. And yes, it is
What do you
Kant.
call me?
Yeah, exactly. It's German. It's
So
if you
fine.
think if you like his stuff, you're a cunt. TN.
Gonna get
but yeah.
us. You start talking about German philosophers, and all of a sudden we get demonetized.
But again, as we go back or looping back into like we previously discussed, a lot of these hinge, that's what the word is, on the idea of truth. And that limits actual, I guess, practice of philosophy in his eyes, practical application of it, or like thinking about it in a proper sense of the word. So here's a few quotes that we kind of talk about. They're actually kind of fun, little nice quotes. Some are a bit more poetic, and others are kind of like a little bit spicier than you think, especially for like early 19th century / 18th century philosophy. Something might be true or being harmful and dangerous in the highest degree. Indeed, it might be a basic characteristic of existence that those who would know it completely would perish. And especially the second one, there is no pre-established harmony between the furthering of truth and the good of mankind. Especially when we think of like what Germany, Japan, and a lot of other people did with going through scientific discoveries and how they got about to finding out those scientific discoveries. A lot of human pain and suffering was made to find out what is true, and at times that was actively harmful. And the idea of the free spirit is to kind of go beyond this idea of, the free spirit is basically a person who innately goes beyond the subsets of single limited moral codes or systems, and supposes and practices what they think in the context is best, or what other people might think in the context is best at any given time, and they just kind of live their best life. They're chill, they're free. It's like a Carly Rae Jepsen song. Yeah, and mostly from Emotion, probably. It's a good album.
Cool.
That kind of stuff. Yeah, that's the free spirit.
I never know how to react when a grown man starts singing Carly Rae Jepsen songs in front of me.
Baby, take me to the feeling. I'll be your winner. It's so great. That's a fucking good song. If you don't like it, fuck you.
I agree. No, that is a good song.
Carly Rae Jepsen is the free spirit. I'll fight anyone says otherwise. But yeah. So moving on from this, because the free spirit is great, but it's still not quite there. And Nietzsche had this idea of a new philosopher, which he said would come about in time. And instead of kind of like just doing it by nature, or just kind of like allowing themselves to kind of vibe with the situation and therefore step past the limits of morality. This is more about a very conscious notion of thinking about what is moral and what could be moral, and then practicing it for the betterment of yourself, and comprehending it and thinking about it rather than enforcing it on others, but also practicing it for yourself. It's weirdly very Buddhist, but he didn't really like interact with that a lot. But the idea itself is what he defined as more extra moral, because the free spirit is more like amoral. They don't think about morals; they just kind of do what feels right. So it's rather than considering what could be good or evil and the context is between them, they practice it without that intent. And this is like the intent of it and the practice of it in full. And that's kind of what he manifests a lot of his ideas around. This is the basis of nihilism, kind of breaking down meaning so you can build it up, practice it, and become beyond what some people might call good and evil.
So if I can try to wrap my head around it.
Yeah, it gets a bit wordy.
Yeah, so it's like if you were walking in a forest and you saw like a trap and someone walking towards that trap, you wouldn't stop and wonder, like, does this person deserve my help? You know, are they a person that would benefit from me intervening and stopping them from coming to harm? You would just act on the immediacy of like what your own beliefs internally are, like whether or not you like, if you wanted that person to be harmed, seeing that situation and allowing that to come to pass, you would still technically be following this because that was your own internal truth That was like what you willed to happen. You saw a situation, and through inaction, a new outcome was made that you wanted.
Yeah. The main idea is that you're doing what you want and what you believe is the best, rather than conforming to an idea. If the trolley problem was presented to Nietzsche, it wouldn't be about pulling one left or right. It would be like punching the train.
That's a good quote. That's a quote.
It would be like, I'll stop the train, because then if I have the will to it, then I'll stop the train and then I'll save everybody and it'll be better.
That is the only correct answer.
Like, wait, Freddy, you can't punch the train. I'll punch the fucking train.
It's punching the train. If you
The
have the will to power to make it happen, then you stop the train.
The train
Get that will to
conductor's just
power.
like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Train metaphors are stupid. That's my philosophy.
Yeah. Nietzsche would see that and be like, this isn't moral, this is stupid. Well, he was also kind of dumb in a lot of ways. One of the main reasons as well that I'm pretty sure people didn't or don't really interact a lot with Nietzsche's deeper, or even more nuanced and kind of like funky ideas like this, was a lot of the time, he wrote like a psychopath. And it's difficult to break apart a lot of what he says and the meanings behind them, because he writes very articulate and like interesting ideas within like 10 paragraphs of poetic nonsense and prose. And it's like, fuck me, Nietzsche. Why do I have to read all of that? Yeah. And of course will lead to our final point. Kidding! Nietzsche or not. How's it going?
Who is
Who said what? It's a guy from Bleach.
I've never seen Bleach.
I did when I was younger.
That's one of the.
I did as well when I was younger.
Those are the two anime that everyone says you should start with. Is like watch a few episodes of Bleach and watch FMA Brotherhood, which is bullshit, by the way. I made this hot take editing this month's news, and I'm gonna say it again. FMA Brotherhood is fucking garbage, and 2003 FMA is the best version of that story.
I'm about to destroy your
Hands
entire
down.
argument right now.
No, all right, Tyler.
No. This guy has a goddamn vendetta against that series, and I don't understand it.
It's
this idea was instilled into you, and when I confronted you about it, you had nothing to defend you.
I watched the series.
Will to power. Will to power.
Fine. You know what?
Manga.
You know what, Tyler? We'll do a joint presentation. Our own like sides of the argument.
No, it doesn't even matter if
I'm
one is better over the other. The issue was like you couldn't judge it on its own merit.
Because it's
that
much
was the
worse.
issue.
It's so much
Oh,
worse.
hold on.
Whatever.
That's kind of slave of you.
Oh my god.
All I'm saying is Bleach is fun, but it is the worst fucking filler of all anime.
Absolutely agree. I literally got into anime from watching Bleach as my first shonen.
It has like 2 great arcs, then it has a bajillion filler episodes, and then there's maybe 1 mediocre arc afterwards with a killer item.
If anyone is this is the end of the presentation, but if anyone is just now joining us,
hold on, we're not at the end of the presentation yet.
Max,
Nietzsche or not?
You're gonna have to. No, this isn't the last slide. I'm just saying, like, if anyone's just now getting in. This is which person said which quote? Did Nietzsche or an anime villain say each of these quotes? One is Nietzsche, one is not.
Sorry, I got a little bit heated there.
No, that's okay.
I was willing to power.
I'm gonna put the fucking law down though. Next time your presentations to be 20 minutes when you're doing it alone, because the crosstalk.
My one wasn't that long.
We've gone to almost 3 hours, Max. There's only 3 presenters. This is the longest recording session we've ever done.
Yeah, but like.
Well, to be fair, you kind of. Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say I think the Kelly Clarkson quote is the anime one. That was all I was gonna say.
I see.
Get back to it.
Oh shit!
I was gonna say.
I was just checking that I was recording. I was like, oh god, what?
I was gonna go with "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger" as an anime quote, but you did say he became like mentally ill by the time of like his near death. So I feel like he just like inherited like that anime villain vibe to a point where he thought he was an anime villain. So I'm gonna go with number 2 being Nietzsche.
I can't think of a single anime where one of the characters just went, "What doesn't kill me makes me stronger." Like maybe like as a power, but I don't think they've ever described it that way.
Second two. Yeah, they're saying Nietzsche said
Think
the...
of I will counteract that with literally Dragon Ball Z.
Also,
Okay,
my
no,
hero,
that's their
my-
power. That's their Zenkai boost.
My Hero Academia, they have a lot of cringe lines like that. To be fair,
I think Nietzsche said the top one. The bottom one's the anime quote, and the chat says the bottom one is the Nietzsche quote.
I think the bottom was the Nietzsche quote. Yeah.
All right, Skipty, finally, you've learned your lesson. You've come so far.
Yeah.
You're so wrong.
God,
Yeah.
I got dumber.
Really? Yeah. Again. Fuck. Wrong.
Will to power.
Are you saying that Friedrich Nietzsche would have loved Kelly Clarkson songs?
Of course he would. Everybody does.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just saying the chat saying they love the length
Yeah.
of
Well,
this.
Well,
bad,
they're not the
kids.
ones.
Now,
well, I mean, except for this
hopefully,
session, yeah. They're not the
you
ones
understand
that-
Nietzsche. Hopefully this hasn't been too rambly, too much. But
What is that word?
Why is his name
What
keep
is that
getting
word?
longer? You had it in the
That is
previous
not-
slide was like Nietzsche,
yeah, now I will go back. Every time I've written Nietzsche, if people have been paying attention, I did add more consonants just to see if people would notice. Every time it happened, yeah. Just because I like to have fun and do dumb things all the time. Look at him. And
Nietzsche said.
But anyway, people can look through the video of VOD to find that one. The basic final idea of his stuff is he wanted to transvalue values, strip away each day some comforting belief, so we could be harder, durable, less abstemious, and above all, this is the part that people like to forget. He wanted us to meet joy and oppression with a genuine and free love of life. Never tries exhorting us to sing, to dance, to laugh and joke, but rather to overcome oneself is to be free of arbitrary norms bound by a more heroic ethical code and to accept good and bad fortune alike with a joy. And I will end this presentation, no more surprise Nietzsche or nuts, with one of the raddest statements that he probably ever said, and it's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I know my fate. One day my name will be associated with the memory of something tremendous, a crisis without equal on earth, the most profound collision of conscience, a decision that was conjured up against everything that had been believed, demanded, hallowed so far. I am no man, I am dynamite. I am not a human being, I am dynamite. And yeah, that's where I end.
Damn. What an anime guy.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
what
He was
anime.
he invented anime.
Oh,
That quote just gives me the vibe of like someone who goes around
Exactly,
saying,
right?
What? I wasn't even
What-
finished there.
Oh, so I thought you were going to say something about anime.
No, I was gonna say it gives me the vibe of someone like who goes around saying like, "I'm the proof that God makes mistakes."
Also
What-
true for Nietzsche. Yeah.
Watch me launch Elden Ring tomorrow and find the embassy that like says the exact same quote.
yeah.
Yeah, also a lot of like Nietzsche and stuff you can see as like affected all kinds of like vaguely nihilist or like edgy culture. Like he's fucking everywhere. People just forget about him.
Four-headed mongrel with the goddamn bangers. Bro really blew up after that quote.
Exactly. He gotta blow up and act like he didn't got nobody.